Again, the helmet is just on the elbow of both the driver and the female. There's a famous scratching of the head. This gentleman has a doggy, but he doesn't have a helmet. Good morning everyone, MMDA back on the road. Right now they're on 2nd Avenue in Caloocan. There are vehicles parked on both sides of the road. Very narrow here. You'll see the tow trucks are already coming in for those vehicles that are unattended. It's not just cars, there's even some huge trucks here. And of course there are also tricycles here. The problem with this one, it's a license plate's already broken, so it's unreadable. When they first arrived, you could barely even squeeze through this road because of all the tricycles, but many of them already ran out and drove away. And if we turn left onto this street, you'll see there's a whole lot more motorcycles and tricycles being ticketed. I can also see there's at least one e-trike. These electric tricycles are becoming more popular, and they're becoming more of a nuisance when they're legally parked on the sidewalk and road, because obviously there's no plate. Makes it very hard to penalize them. You'll see signs like this, please don't block the driveway. And that's a common complaint from people. They say, hey, we have a driveway, we have a garage, but people keep blocking us in. It's possible they have permission, but I cannot be sure. I know that every day there's a lot of people that come out and greet the team and say, please clear these vehicles. Every day they're blocking us. For those drivers that arrive in time and show a valid license, it's only a ticket. Otherwise it gets towed away. And of course, this is a common conflict that the team encounter, emergency vehicles parked on the road. Because while you're writing out tickets to all the privately owned vehicles, the emergency vehicles are also causing the same obstruction. And sometimes the vehicles aren't actually working, meaning they can't be moved. I'm not saying that's the case here, I'm just explaining a common difficulty for the team. You'll see the towing crew making a video of this one now, so if there's complaints about damage, they'll show the condition of the car before they picked it up. It does have a pretty useful drinks rack on the back. You can just put your soda up there. And you'll see one of the tow trucks is actually leaving now. They picked up this little van. And you'll see this Avanza is already being lifted. It's a little bit slower than the automatic lifter, but it does get the job done. And you see this one was already lifted. That's also on its way to Tamana in Marikina City. They'll just put the sign on the back of this one, caution, towed vehicle. And then again, you know where it's going. If we go around the corner again, it looks like they've already started picking up some of the tricycles and motorcycles. Some of the bikes will have to be lifted because of the steering lock. There's a protector on the corner, security, watching, waiting. That's really one of the responsibilities of operating public transport. You are expected to have a proper parking space. And of course, it's not just on the road. Some vehicles are even parked on the sidewalk. So same thing, if they can show a license, it's only a ticket. Some of these tricycles look in pretty poor condition. Of course, no need for a side mirror because turn first, look later. That's pretty classic, no? This tricycle was already ticketed and marked as impounded, but while they're rearranging the vehicles on the tow truck, the driver started the engine, and I think he's going to drive away, even in slippers, no face mask. Okay, never mind, he is compliant, he was just trying his luck. The tricycle's already on the tow truck. The gentleman with the e-trike was promising that if they just release it, he won't park it there anymore. The thing is, the neighbors were already complaining, allegedly. So this tow truck's rolling out now. It's got a lot of tricycles on the back. And then that one in the background also has a couple of tricycles and I think a MC. It's hard to see from here. And I've just noticed that all the LED street lights are still turned on. Unfortunately, they're wearing hard hats instead of crash helmets. That's not actually authorized on a motorcycle. On the sidewalk and even in the road, there were a lot of junk shop signs. They removed their signs now from the road to avoid being confiscated. I don't think you can make that sign any bigger, and directly under it is a bunch of tricycles parked. People regularly say make the signs bigger, make them higher, make them lower. It's not the sign is not the problem. Although I do think the sign should be proper traffic signs made of metal, following standard designs, not tarpaulins with ads on them. Tried to flag down that motorcycle. I thought he was about to run away, but he did stop. Unfortunately, the driver and passenger aren't wearing helmets. If you think you're going to use the sidewalk, think again. But thankfully there are enforcers taking pictures, writing tickets, and eventually towing away to clear the sidewalks, clear the road. There's 2 more vehicles on the other side, one in the road, one on the sidewalk. Both are being issued tickets and they'll be towed away if no driver comes out. This guy was on the way to the beach, I guess. No helmet, no shoes. Feeling pretty breezy in the wind, I guess. It looks like the driver just came out for this one, so as long as he shows a valid license to the enforcer, he could drive away with just a ticket. The sign says park at your own risk, and I guess it is pretty risky. It's already being hooked up to the tow truck. They're going to clear it for illegal parking. This is 7th Avenue, by the way, Caloocan City. And just behind the pink one, they're picking up this also. Same thing, considered to be illegally parked. The sticker says Kamote rider, flagged down for riding without helmet, the back ride. Just saw them try to apprehend a motorcycle. They didn't stop for the first enforcer, but second enforcer caught it. The violation is back ride, no crash helmet. After he got his ticket, sped away with no crash helmet on the back still, as if having a ticket is somehow going to protect her head. Again, over here, you'll see a parked vehicle right next to a sign that says no parking. And just behind that, there's a bunch more vehicles. They're also being issued tickets. I actually remember the last time the team were here, someone from the LGU came and said, actually, we're allowing parking. So they said, why don't you have a one-side parking ordinance and remove the signs? But you can see it still clearly says no parking. That's driving in slippers and no crash helmet. Actually, the first thing he said was, I was already ticketed, but he's not already been ticketed. And even if he was, you still have to push the motorcycle or park it until you get a crash helmet. A ticket doesn't exempt you, and it doesn't protect you from the accident. And that's weird. The street lights here are also turned on, just like the ones we saw earlier. Just wasting power. One more rider being flagged down here. Unfortunately, no crash helmet, no license plate. One more rider flagged down here for no helmet, and again, no license plate. There's a holder for a plate, but there's nothing written on it. They just flagged down another motorcycle rider. His helmet is on his elbow instead of his head. And look, there's another bike here. You might say, why do people bring a helmet if they're not going to wear it? The truth is, a lot of the time, enforcers, if they see you have a helmet, they'll just say, hey, wear that, and then let you go. So that's why people still carry a helmet, even if they're not going to wear it. Anytime you go on the road, the helmet's required. Actually, someone was complaining, oh, I need a shoes, I need a helmet just to go to the market. Anywhere, anytime you ride the motorcycle. And the thing is, how would the enforcer know if you're just going to the market or if you're riding all the way to Baguio? Anyway, they've nearly finished clearing the street, and then they'll move on to the next one. That's one more rider flagged down. Unfortunately, the lady on the back wasn't wearing a crash helmet. You'll see a sign here, no parking. But even without a sign, drivers are required to know you cannot park on a public sidewalk. And it's the same thing over here. There's a whole bunch of cars parked on the sidewalk, but they are being ticketed. A lot of people have said to increase the penalty because it doesn't act as much of a deterrent, especially if it's only the MMDA ticketing. You might only get caught twice a month, 3 times a month. It's still cheaper to take those tickets than use paid parking. That's a nice motorcycle, but unfortunately no parking. It's just here on the sidewalk. Now those cars have been ticketed and removed, you can see the sidewalk is clear again. If you look at that red car, it's parked legally on an easement. So they could park just like that, but of course they wouldn't fit as many cars. The last time the team were here, most of these vehicles were obstructing the sidewalk. Now they're parked parallel on the easement, meaning the sidewalk is clear, except for that red one. So there has been an improvement. And actually there's a huge improvement over here. Last time there was so much stuff on the sidewalk, now it's all being cleared. So yeah, there is a big improvement in this area.